Hello and welcome back. In this segment, we will be focusing on citing sources within the document. This is called parenthetical citation or in-text citation. A typical paper or speech has three main parts: the introduction, which contains the thesis statement and often an attention grabber or hook, the body, and the conclusion or summary. Parenthetical citations usually appear in the text of the body of the paper, hence in text. Parenthetical citations add credibility to your thesis or argument as you are providing supportive evidence in the form of factual information from some form of authority on the topic. Therefore, citations tell your reader or audience who your authority is and specifically where you got your information. Usually, this is presented as the author and page number. Often, the authority can be introduced to the reader or audience in the introductory clause. The most well-known of these is the according to clause, as this lets your reader or audience know that this fact came from someone with authority on the subject. Be wary, though, of overuse of this particular phrase. Instead, you may want to consider alternatives such as these. If we consider parenthetical citations as part of a building process, you can see how they fit into your writing. Let's begin by building a direct quote. Use direct quotes when you want to emphasize a point. In this instance, we introduce the author in the first sentence, while we also give background information about the author, thereby orienting the reader. Make sure to spell the author's name correctly. And in this instance, Bill is spelled B-I-L. Bill Browning was bullied as a child and sought refuge in his imagination and toys. The next sentence begins with he states, followed by a comma, and then the opening quotation mark. In my daydreams, the bus would swallow my tormentors, gobbling down the pain they caused and spitting it back out. The direct quote is written exactly word for word. Notice that there is no end punctuation. In fact, this sentence continues, but we chose to only use the first part. For that reason, we end the sentence with an ellipsis, the ... Then we add our final quotation mark, and then the parenthetical citation, which includes only the page number, and then the concluding period. Let's build another direct quote. Notice that we have begun and ended the word-for-word quote with quotation marks and leave off concluding punctuation. Trees have a rather complicated relationship with people, after all. One minute you're hugging us, the next minute you're turning us into tables and tongue depressors. Then, in our parenthetical citation following the quote, we name the author, space, and give the page number of the quote within the parentheses. We conclude by closing the sentence with a final period. In this example, the author was not mentioned in the sentences preceding the quote, so we need to tell the reader in the parenthetical citation. Now let's build a paraphrase for a web source. Trenton Cowles, who won the gold medal in the men's recurve in the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games, said his interest in archery started with video games. He wanted to try it in real life, and because he did not own a bow, he carved a rudimentary one with a souvenir pocket knife and added a bungee cord. We are paraphrasing the author's words from an article. Then, in our parenthetical citation, we list the author and conclude with the final period. We do not have a page number because it is from an unpaginated, no page numbers, web page. Also notice that this author has a hyphenated last name. Both parts are treated as one unit when you list it in the body of the paper as well as in your works cited page. It is not acceptable to simply copy and paste a URL from the web page. If you do not find an author, you may use the title of the article or web page, but see the MLA handbook for specifics. Perhaps you have information gleaned from a number of pages from a single source. In that instance, you may summarize or paraphrase the author's words. Let's build a summary using parenthetical citation. People tended to rely heavily on cures as outlandish as scattering 2 inches of fresh dirt on floors, inhaling black pepper, and even tossing garbage into the streets for animals to eat. Just as in the other examples, our parenthetical citation follows the information from a source, and we do not have any concluding punctuation until after the citation. List the author, space, and the pages from which you retrieved this summary. Here there is a hyphen between the beginning and the ending page numbers. No spaces. Conclude with the final period. While this does not cover all instances you will encounter, it does give you a good start. Consult a teacher or the MLA handbook for further guidance. And then we will begin how to build works cited entries.